Hello, this is the new our application for trainer training room. Whatever, it's for the ET Open Chat, and we are going to do three things. Thing one is we're going to go through the trainer application, all the steps that are involved there. Second, there were some questions submitted, so we're going to talk about those. And third, if anyone in the group wants to ask specific questions, this will be the time to do it. I will now share my screen, my entire screen, because it's likely there will be pop-ups. And here we go. First thing you're going to want to do is when you are going to apply, you would go to the Google for Education, the Teacher Center. Under Programs, you would find Certified Trainer. Chances are you've already found this because you want to be a trainer. And so this will lead you through what it is to become a trainer. In fact, in the last meeting room, you might recognize this person right here. That's Peely. So she's in this video that talks about becoming a trainer. Feel free to look at that on your own time. We're not going to watch a video during this. But there are these steps to become a trainer. This is labeled as the first step. I disagree. I believe your first step should be to get level 1 and level 2 certificates for Google Certified Educator Level 1 and Google Certified Educator Level 2. Chances are you've probably already done that if you are here. You would find them here under certifications. I recently, as a trainer, led a training where I took 15 teachers through the fundamentals training, and they then took the test. It was a 6-hour boot camp, so super short. 3 hours of here's what you need to work on, and then the 3-hour test after lunch. And surprisingly, they were pretty successful, but that has more to do with the fact that we spent an entire year teaching remotely, so they were pretty familiar with the tools anyway. But, so, although this says level 1, this, or step 1, this should be step 1. Get your level 1 and level 2 certifications. You can go through the training, but if you feel pretty comfortable with your Google tools, you don't necessarily have to go through the training, but you do have to pay for the exams. The level 1 exam is $10 US, and the level 2 exam is $25 US, I believe. After that, that's when I would go through the trainer course. This focuses almost exclusively on all of the rules about sharing data. It talks almost exclusively about COPPA and FERPA laws, and that's pretty US-centric. I'm assuming in your country it might do something different, but if you look at the trainer course, there's the introduction, establishing yourself as a leader, and support a shared vision within your school. Design professional learning, implement best coaching practices, which I find interesting in that they have a whole coaching program. I feel like that's a bit of a crossover. This is on planning engaging training sessions, facilitate with professionalism, how to integrate the Google tools in your classroom, deepen your knowledge of Google education, like how to set up a Google workspace for education domain. That's one of the side benefits of becoming a trainer is you get a free Google for Education domain that you can set up as your own. In fact, this right here is my domain because I became a trainer. I set it up as Blue EdTech because, you know, branding. Anyway, that is the course that you would go through. You could, if you feel gutsy, not go through any of that. You don't actually have to do that. You could just jump right here and take the trainer skills assessment. The trainer skills assessment, I'm gonna go in through another one. Oh, we don't need to see that. Is through Criterion. It's the exact same certifications that you would do for your level 1 and level 2. The certified trainer exam is right here. And it, again, in US dollars, that one costs $15. If you do not pass it, okay, I haven't failed it, so it won't say. If you do not pass it, you have to wait 14 days before you can take it again. However, chances are, if you've already taken the level 1 and level 2, these guys, you can see I just re-upped them. If you have taken the level 1 and level 2 and you know there can be really excessive tests, right? There's a bunch of multiple choice questions and then you have practical stuff. The trainer exam is just multiple choice. That's it. There's nothing else.
Okay.
You get 90 minutes for it. It's actually pretty straightforward. So you would then register for the exam, and as usual, unlike these where it creates a separate instance of Google for the level 1 and level 2 exam, you actually take the trainer exam right within this space here, the web assessor space. Okay, so we may have done it out of order, but we've gotten our level 1 and our level 2. Then we took the trainer course. Then we finished the skills assessment. This is what you're really here to see, right? This is where you would ask or sign up to become a trainer. So let's walk through the online application portal. So if you were a new applicant, I'm assuming you've never done this before, you're going to hit Start New Application, fill in all your stuff. SE Testerson. I won't do that. I'll do my actual name. Oh, golly, that's a lot of stuff at once. I'm going to stop sharing while I fill this part out. And then, because I don't want that recorded necessarily, but I'll log you in when I'm on to the next step. In the meantime, I have a question for any of you who are willing to answer. Have any of you started this process already? You can just come off mute and talk.
Yeah, so I've got my level 1, sort of working my way through the level 2, and it's sort of coming towards that point of just doing the trainer section.
Right on. I know that isn't necessarily what we're supposed to be talking about right now, but I will tell you this about the level 2. It's pretty straightforward. Like if you pass the level 1 exam, the level 2 exam kind of touches on a couple of the hipster Google apps, as Eric Kurtz calls them, meaning like Google Scholar, Google Blogger. And then there's a couple things like in forms where it's not just saying create a form and name it. It'll say stuff like, it might get a little more in depth, but like for the most part, level 2 is just level 1 extended. So it's it's not crazy difficult or anything.
Is the boot camps helpful? Because I did sign up, so I saw that one for they had like a day for the level 1, then for the level 2 as well.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, it might be some might call it information overload because we ran it last year, and you can look those up too if you don't want to wait till late July. But we get into way more information than is covered in the exam. So if you learn everything from those, you'll have more than enough information, because we really go in depth on those boot camps through Global. I'm assuming you mean, right?
Yeah. So I saw that through sort of the same page where I saw this actually.
Yep. So it's the same. It's a lot of this. We cover way more than is necessary, so it's pretty cool. All right, so here we are into the application. I bypassed the register part because I didn't need you all to see my recording of my address. So name of my school is, I'm going to call it Me University. Google for Education domain. I'll just use mine. Job title. What I actually am. I'm a music specialist. School organization website. No, I'm not doing that. It doesn't require it, it looks like. Fine. I'll just come over here for a second and admit this person. and stop presenting again for a second so you don't see my address. But you enter all this pertinent info. Oh, I needed to select this page. Continue. Okay, back to presenting again. For those of you just joining us, I'm showing what you do for the full-on application. So once you have gone from here, where it says create your video and submit your trainer, that's going to plop you over here where you register, organization, application details. So enter your degrees, right? How many years of classroom teaching experience? How many years of coaching or training experience? Don't sweat a lot of these. I mean, obviously, they're going to want to see that you have some sort of higher degree. Though one of the members in this organization, GlobalGEG, is the youngest Google certified trainer in the world, and he just graduated from high school in England. So they don't necessarily ask this. Then how many years of classroom teaching experience do you have? He's just been like essentially a partner teacher, or like we call them paraprofessionals here in the US. So don't sweat this one. Coaching or training experience, put whatever you want there. I'm just gonna let this person in real quick. Google specific trainings, list at least 5 recent Google specific trainings. So this is where we get into the thing where it's like, but I haven't done trainings. What counts is you have a co-teacher, you show them how to do stuff in Gmail to like put things into folders. You've helped someone with sheets. One-on-one trainings or individually helping someone that you work with counts here. If a current trainer referred you to this program, include their name and email. So if you happen to have a trainer in your organization, see if they'd be willing to throw your stuff in here. Did you work with a Google for Education partner? So these are professional development companies that exist, right? They just want to know, like, this doesn't help you one way or the other. This is just for their data to see if like, oh, such and such group that is a Google for Education partner helped. So they just want to know that. Did you attend a Google for Education certified trainer workshop? I guess this counts. So you can click yes here. Recertification as a Google trainer requires 12 trainings a year. So what they're saying is they want you to provide at least 12 trainings a year. That you could do them once a month. Me personally, I end up getting almost all of them in the summer. And a training, again, in this situation can be you to a giant mass of people, or it can be you just explaining a Google tool to one of your coworkers. In fact, sessions that I've done that have counted have been explaining things like Wakelet, right? Because it uses a Google login, right? And it meshes well with Google tools. So it doesn't necessarily have to be specifically focused on Google for Education workspace apps. I think I said that all right. But they just want to see how it's related to Google. So any of those will count once you are a trainer. Then this is where you would choose the file. When you get level 1 or level 2, you get a PDF. So you're going to plop those here. You're going to have to plop your skills assessment here. Any other certifications you want to upload, which is like, man, whatever. Like, I think it's pretty easy to become Flipgrid certified. I'm sure you could put that there, but it's optional, so don't worry about it. Then please choose a single training that you conducted within the past year and answer the following 5 questions. Now, I applied to be a trainer twice. The first time, I didn't get it, but then they gave me advice on how to do it the second time. And it's because I didn't pay attention to this part. So this is describe a single training from your case study. How did you demonstrate the use of the tool? This is basically like an after action report. How did it go with your training? Then what actions did you take to engage the learners? Did you have like a little game that you did? Did you find that as you explained something, there was someone that was stuck on the login page? How did you differentiate? Sometimes that just means walking around the room and helping them, right? Then provide links to at least one training material. So what they're looking for here is if you created a slide deck, you're going to include it there. So make sure that it is anyone with link can view. And again, you should probably do a Google slideshow. A PowerPoint might not be the way to go here. And this is the part the reason I didn't pass. Link to your feedback. If you are a Google certified trainer or a Google for Education partner, you need to ask for feedback afterwards. They're always looking for feedback. That's one of the things baked into almost all Google tools where it asks for feedback. They want to know that after you did your training, you asked for feedback from the people. They just want to see that you've done it. So like, did you ask for feedback? And then they're going to want to see your survey responses. I recommend using a Google form that feeds to a Google Sheet. Just share the sheet. They don't necessarily have to be good reviews, but I mean, let's be honest, that's what we want to share anyway. And I'm sure you could go in and doctor the ones that say bad things. Anyway, what they're then looking for, though, is if you do get things like, I didn't like how they blah, whatever, this is where you would say, I read it, and one person said they didn't like how I did blah. So the next time I gave the training, I did blah. Okay? That's the thing about the case study, and the reason I didn't get it the first time is because I didn't do the feedback. This is the part that most people freak out about. It's the trainer video. Don't worry. It does not have to be earth-shattering or mind-blowing. Let me say that again. It does not have to be massively produced. It doesn't have to be terribly exciting. As a matter of fact, it could look just like what you're seeing right now, okay? What they're looking for, oops, wrong one. What they're looking for is a 3-minute video. In the first minute, wow us explaining why you wish to become a trainer. Basically, just be like, be you. Just be who you are. Hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm at such and such school in so-and-so place. I do X, Y, and Z. I want to be a trainer because I rule and I'm great. Whatever, whatever you come up with. Then the 2 minutes is a video, show the audience how one feature of Google Education tools, Chromebooks, Chrome, or Android tablets can be innovatively applied in a classroom or school setting. Don't let this word freak you out. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. Mine was just on literally creating a Google form where if they answer yes, here it leads to this part, answering no, here it leads to this part. It's basically a video recording about 2 minutes of you doing something that you would do in a training. It doesn't have to be amazing, right? Can be applied. Screencasts are required unless an exemption is sought, blah, blah, blah. So in other words, the recording I'm making now, right, could count 2 minutes of it. The main thing in regards to the video, and I'm going to be perfectly upfront, don't go over 3 minutes. They're not going to watch past the 3-minute mark. So if that means you have to really abbreviate your training and maybe only show one aspect of a Google tool, that's enough, okay? And that's really all you have to worry about as far as the trainer process goes for the application. Once you've done it, you click that, and for the confirmation, it's basically because I'm not going to enter any of this stuff right now, but when you get to the confirmation, it's basically just, hey, was any of this true? That's it. That's all they want to know. Was it true? And they're not going to check. They don't know. But you should be honest after all, because, right, that's the right way to do things. Anyway, that's the trainer process, how you apply. The hardest part, truthfully, is editing the video. If you're not adept at editing videos. As many of us spent an awful lot of time in distance learning, chances are you've gotten pretty good at recording a screencast, right? Now just gear one towards what you would do for educators. That's all. That's all you would need to do for that. Thus ends part 1 of what we're doing here. The next part is about the questions. A number of people asked some questions, and I'm going to answer them now. The first question that came in is, how can we bridge the digital divide in Africa? Pretty easy question. I don't know. I wish I could have a better answer for that, but that's the first one that came in, and I really wish I knew an answer to it. I don't. Sorry. Next question. Can I use different platforms to offer trainings, and how many hours do I need yearly to maintain my license? As far as different platforms, I report every training I do. Sometimes my training's about Flipgrid. Sometimes my training's about Wakelet. There have been a couple trainings I've done about News Ella or News ELA, or trainings about FET simulations, or you know what I mean? I've done a lot of digital tools. Chances are they're going through a Chrome browser, and oftentimes students are using a Chromebook. That all counts. Okay, what you turn in the application should probably be focused on Google tools, right? But once you're a trainer, because that was the second part of the question, how many trainings do you have to do a year? The answer is 12. You need to get 12 done over the course of a year, and it can be all in 1 week if it has to be. Next, how to...
Sorry, can I just jump in there?
Please.
Just quickly. So with, I just had a question on those training sessions. Does it always have to be staff? So sort of teacher to teacher. So
it can't be
just class students and parents as well in that.
It has to be, as a trainer, your job is to train other teachers. So the case study, any of those things need to be to other trainers, or to other teachers rather. The hard part, of course, is until you're a trainer, how do you get the audience, right? Like that's the big thing. Honestly, when I applied, my trainings were just me in staff meetings going, hey, let me show you this thing. And like, that's it. I created one that I did asynchronously, where I just created a slide deck and sent it to people and said, did this help you understand the tool? And then they filled out the Google form, and then that's what counted. And then once you have that trainer cache, anything you do can count as a training, right? Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, it does. No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. The next question, how do I create a case study? Well, that was an example of what I said. Like, I was teaching a summer program. There were other teachers there from other districts who I didn't know. I didn't want to take time away from their day, or mine, frankly, to do a training. So I created that slide deck talking about Autocrat. And then I pushed it out to them saying, hey, you didn't know what Autocrat was. Did the training help? They filled out a Google form saying, yeah, I got it. And that was the case study I did. Obviously, the feedback from that was it would have been easier if it was live, right? So I made sure to say, next time I'll do it live, right? But as far as a template for the case study, there really isn't one, which was the question. And the second part of the question, is there a template available or guide to conduct the case study? No. Next, I don't know what I don't know. I'd just like to learn more about the process. Hopefully what I talked about at the beginning explained all the steps. And if you're joining late, don't worry about it, because it was all recorded, and theoretically it'll end up on the GEG or trainer open chat web, whatever. It will send you a link. It'll be good. Then how do you submit it all? That's all within that form. General overview and advice. Don't worry about it, I think, is my general advice, because it's pretty, like, it seems like it's really in depth, but as long as you cross all your T's and dot all your I's, like actually follow the steps of the application, there are very few people who are rejected. I was, but I also didn't follow all the steps. So but they then sent a thing saying, you missed this, I fixed it, and then I was in the very next round. So, and it's a rolling enrollment. So if you don't get in 1 month, try again, get in the next month or the next month, or you know what I'm saying? So there are new trainers all, like, constantly. Not sure. Sports and or physical health education. Yeah, any tools that you use on the back end, because like in class, you're not necessarily having them fill out Google Forms necessarily, but if you do, explain to another teacher how you would do it, I guess. is what I would say. Because again, it's not teacher to student, it's teacher to teacher. That's where the trainer part comes in. Case study looks like, and about evidence of feedback from my trainings. Just a Google form. That was the next question. How would I provide evidence of feedback from my trainings? That question is basically do a training, give them a Google form, and then share that sheet of the answers. Now, as far as what questions do you ask, it doesn't have to be, give me a Likert scale of 1 meaning this, 5 meaning that, blah, blah, blah. It can just be, did you find this training beneficial? What would you change? Like, it doesn't have to be a crazy in-depth series of questions. It can be pretty basic. They just want to know that you asked for feedback. Can we see examples of a case study? No, I didn't bring one. Sorry. All right, so that concludes the second part. So the first part, I showed the whole training process, right? Filling out the trainer application. Then I went through all the questions. I didn't put them up on screen because you don't need to see all that, and answered the ones I felt like. Actually, I went through all of them. And then now, this is the point where I would ask all of you, do any of you have any questions as far as what now? Like, Mr. A, you said that you had done the level 1 exam, right? So you just have level 2 and then the trainer course.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm pretty lucky. I'm sort of probably in a position where I could fly through this because I'm actually the digital lead at my school, sort of newly appointed. So yeah, so I'm in a really good place. I've got a lot of sort of banked sessions, and so it's kind of like almost just backdating to get the qualification, because sort of the questions I've got is, once qualified, I would be looking to sort of build up a bit of practice and stuff, but then look to book sort of gigs with external schools, and sort of how useful that directory is and how that process sort of works.
That's a good question. I'm in the edu directory. I've only been hit up by a couple districts or a couple schools in my area. I'm in the States. I'm assuming you're not. Yes?
Yeah, I'm in England. Yeah.
Right on. So we have public schools, and for the most part, public schools, if they're going to hire someone, they're going to spend a lot of money to hire like a Google partner program, right? When I get calls are from charter schools. They're smaller schools where like they're their own, we have 3 campuses sort of thing, right? And so there were a couple charter schools that contacted me about some Google training, especially when Google went to a pricing tier, right? Like they started going, there's Google for Education, but if you wanted to do this, well, it's going to cost you, or this, oh, it's going to cost you more. So, because this was COVID times, it was last year at this time, they decided to pay for it because they were going to use Meet as their asynchronous training. So then they contacted me, and then I just set my own price. You don't necessarily have to book trainings that way, but once you're in the directory, there are a lot of benefits that come with being a trainer where they ask to see your page on the directory. Does that make sense?
A little bit, yeah. So I mean, so you don't sort of pick up a lot of work that way.
Well, it all depends on how much you hustle, though, right? Like you're not going to necessarily get cold calls, but because of it, I've been hired by other companies to do trainings, and I've also been hired by just gotten some cold calls. I haven't spent a lot of time looking into it myself, but I know there's a number of people, and it also depends on your area. If you're the only trainer in your area, you'll probably get a lot of business. Yeah. But I'm in Minnesota, which you wouldn't think has many people, but it does. It has a fair number. And I happen to be in what is essentially a metro area. So our big city, I'm just a suburb of. So if someone's looking for something around Minneapolis, there's like 12, 13 of us within a 10-mile, you know what I mean? So there's like a ton of us because there's hundreds of thousands of people in the metro area. So if you're one of the only trainers around, you might get a fair number of clients. But by having that directory thing, once you're in the trainer program, you get free access to a ton of software. And one of the things they ask for when you ask for the free year of StreamYard or the free year of whatever, right? They want to see your EDU page. So you've got to direct them to the directory page.
Perfect. Cheers for that.
Yeah, no worries. Someone typed into the chat a question, and since I'm on a different version of Meet, okay, here it is. When applying for the Google Coach or Innovator, would that be directly through the school district I work or want to work for? That's a really good question. I've been in the same school district for 23 years, which is a bit of an anomaly. I've been here since always, and I can't leave. Anyway, what I've found is they do ask where you're working, but I would, as far as, they don't care where you work, is what it amounts to, right? When you put your email account, use your personal. That's my main suggestion, because you'll want to, what am I trying to say here? You'll want the coach or trainer or innovator title to go with you. So if you've set up, you've got an email on the domain of the district you're in, it may not go with you. As far as when it's asking about the school district or stuff, when you're filling out all the forms and stuff, that can change. That's not a big deal. You could use the one you're currently in. I would just say the one you're currently in, because you may want to work for a school district, but that doesn't guarantee you're going to get the job, right? So the question, which was, when applying for the Google Coach or Innovator, would that be directly through the school district I work for or want to work for? You actually do it all through this portal that I was showing earlier, the Google Teacher Center. But as far as when you enter your data, I want to apply to for both coach first. Glad you mentioned the EDU. I will register in the summer. Right on. I'm going to be honest, the coach program might be even easier to do. The problem is maintaining it. The trainer exam has a long history, or the trainer program has been around like forever. Coach is just getting started. Whereas trainer, they have rolling enrollment once a month. Coach is like every week.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like once a month or once a week, like you turn in your stuff and they're like, cool, you're in. The hard part though is where the trainer program, you have to just show that you do 12 trainings a year. The coach program requires 100 hours of coaching over the course of a year. So when you're entering information through the EDU app, which I can show you that in a second, it's a lot of data entry that you end up doing. In fact, I might as well just show you that. I don't know if this is, well, no, if it's recording and it's breaking NDA, I'm not going to show you. I'll just tell you this. Once you become a trainer, innovator, GEG leader, or coach, or in some cases, if you're all four, you get what's called the EDU app. It's an app where you enter data so that Google for Education can keep track of what you're doing, right? Because Google for Education wants to see what kind of engagement this program is getting, because that converts, well, frankly, to money, right? Yeah. Google is a company, and as benevolent as they may be, they are a company and they need to make money. So Google for Education wants you to prove that you've done stuff. So in the Google EDU app, you'll enter your trainings, and they want to know, often they'll say, okay, cool, where was it? What was it called? Did you have a slide deck? Can you share that with us? What district was it? They'll ask like what the domain is. So like,
do we make our own materials, or they give us the materials?
That's a really great question. You're basically make it yourself, and then you submit it and say, I did this training. Now, once you're a trainer, though, you will have access to not just the trainer directory, but there's a trainer database of training material. So for example, I was mentioning earlier, I was hired by a local charter school, and they wanted to know about Google products, right? I didn't have to make that up from whole cloth. I went into the Google not the directory, but the resources tab, and I just typed in what I was looking for. And anytime you've done a training, you submit the training you've created, you can then look through what everyone else has done. So I was able to then find one of those. I credited that person because obviously you credit the person who created it. But I was able to take that and adjust it to do my trainings. Did that answer your question?
Yes, but you said the coach is like 100 hours, like, or train like 100 people basically.
Coach is 100 hours. So you could coach, typically what they're looking for in the coach program is for you to have like 5-10 teachers that you do the 5-step coaching cycle. And that's all part of the coaching program that is separate from the trainer program. There is a lot of crossover, right? When you're doing coach or trainer, but like trainer is more, you go to a summit and you run a session, they want you to record that session, right? Or you get hired by a school district to do some training for some teachers, you record that. Coaching is you work in a building and there's just some random teachers that you're assigned to help, or that you're like, hey, I'm the coach, does anyone want help? And they sign up with you. So it's for the new position that's emerging in a lot of schools. And I understand it's not a huge thing in England, which is why the coach cohort over there with like Darren White and Abid Patel and a couple others, Kat Lemon, they are kind of like spearheading it over there. But here in the States, technology integrationist is a new emerging role, which is like you're just the person who kind of ostensibly wanders around and says, hey, I see you're teaching this. There's an easier way to do that. Let me show you how, right?
I have another question. For all three, like the trainer, the coach, and the innovator, you have to take a test for each one of them?
Good question. Trainer, there is an exam that is through Web Assessor. Coach is an exam that's through the EDU Teacher Center, right? And to prove that you passed, you actually take a screenshot of it. Innovator, there's no exam. That one, you basically just have to get picked. The idea is you fill out all your paperwork or all the stuff, right, to apply, and then you come up with a problem that you see in education, and you ask the question, how might we blank? And then if you get accepted to the Innovator Academy, they go through the design thinking process where you would figure out a possible solution to the problem that you posed. So with Innovator, you come up with a question, right, without a solution, because they don't want to see that you have a solution in mind. You present it, you get like, when I applied and got in, it was a 1-minute video where you had to introduce yourself and explain your problem. Now you're up to 2 minutes, which is so much time, where you're supposed to say who you are, where you are, what you do, what the problem is, and come up with the how might we, right? So that's Innovator. It's more about your level 1 and level 2, which means you understand the Googles, right? But to become an innovator, it's more like you want to be a change maker in education.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So back to trainer stuff. Once you're a trainer, you just have to do 12 a year. Last year, because of the lockdown, pretty much everywhere, they waived the 12 trainings a year, though. And I think the main reason they did that is because nearly all trainers had done way more than that and just didn't have time to record it. And Mei Ju, who is the trainer program runner, or she runs the program, just went, yeah, I know y'all are working. It's cool. And she just let them go. Yeah, so that's it in a nutshell. They want to see 12 trainings a year. Are there any other questions? Person who just joined, I'm going to say your name. Richard? I'm assuming I got that right. This is being recorded, so you can go back and watch. I went through the whole trainer, like the process to fill out the forms for trainer, like what you need to do. Then I went through the questions that had been submitted, and at this point we're in Q&A. Do you have any specific questions about the trainer program? You're welcome. He said good morning. I'm going to say, I don't want to get the prefix wrong, but is it Ms. Lauderdale?
Cora Lauderdale.
Lauderdale.
I didn't know how it would show up on the
It's just, It's just your first initial C.
Yeah, it's Cora.
Hi. You're in the US, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Cool. So for me, it's 6:48. It's 6 hours ahead for you, Mr. A?
So you Central.
It's one in the morning here.
Oof. Yeah, I'm Central. How about you?
I'm Eastern.
Eastern? Okay, right on. And Luis, you asked a question, and I'm hoping I said that correct. Lee, my name is Luz, sorry. And I want to know what a trainer essential certificate is, please. Great question. If we want to apply for GCT, do we need to establish a GEG first? No, you don't have to establish a GEG first. I just did that because I had already gotten a bunch of other things. Like, I'm just a badge junkie. I'll say it. I have a problem with badging. I need them all. So I created a GEG in my area because there wasn't one. You don't have to establish a GEG. You don't even have to join a GEG to become a trainer. Now, to answer your question, Luz, the GEG, or excuse me, the Trainer Essentials Certificate is the training. I'm going to share my screen again. Your entire screen. Boop, plop. So what that is right here, the trainer skills assessment. So you would take this assessment. This is one where I've actually passed the assessment. And what it is just a 30-question test. So to do it, you would register for the exam. You'd click the trainer drop-down menu, and then you just register here. It's $15 US. I'm not sure where you are and what it would cost. I don't have to take it because I've recently re-upped all my certifications. I will say this, once you're a trainer, you don't have to retake this exam.
You only need, it's only 30 questions. I thought it was like a like performance based. So it's only the test is just 30 questions altogether.
Yeah, the level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is 30 questions and performance based, like 9 scenarios you do. The level 2 is 30 questions and 11 scenarios, right? The trainer exam, 30 questions, you get an hour and a half.
How many questions is the coach?
The coach one, I think it's like 45 questions. And the nice thing about that one is you can just take it again and take it again. Whereas the trainer exam, as it shows here, like as I click this button for trainers, if you fail the first time, when you go to pay for it again, because you have to pay for it again, it makes you wait 14 days. The coach exam, I think you can take just like you blow it, you might have to wait a day and you can try it again. This one, they make you wait 14 days. The other nice thing is the coach exam is completely free. There's
Sorry, Frederick, I have a question now.
Please.
Yes. That means about the Trainer Essential Certificate. It means that I have to take that certificate before applying to be a trainer?
That is correct. What they want because what they're doing is in the teacher, or in the teacher center, you do the trainer course first. They want you to take the trainer course with all the learning for being a trainer. Then the exam is to prove that you know what it is. Now, Richard, you said if we apply, we need to establish GEG first. Oh, I already answered that. No, you don't have to apply, establish a GEG, but you do have to take Google Educator Exam 1 and 2, and do the trainer exam 2.
Okay, and then you apply to be a trainer following those steps you show us.
Correct.
Okay. And the certification lasts for its lifetime?
That's a good question. The exam itself, when you take, it's good for 3 years. You don't have, once you're a trainer, if you stay as a trainer, you don't have to re-up the trainer exam. The only reason I did it was because I wanted to see what the exam looked like, so I was willing to spend another $15. But once you get to the exam, right, like once you've taken the trainer exam, get accepted into the trainer program, as long as you prove 12 trainings a year, you're in. That's all you have to do. They do every year have a multiple choice questionnaire that they give you saying what new, because Google is always improving their products, right? So they'll say like, hey, what new product updates? They'll give you a multiple choice exam. It's a Google form. Then they give you a slideshow that has all the answers. So it's kind of a, do you know what's changed? And do you know, and if you didn't know what changed, here's a slideshow explaining it. So it's almost one-to-one on that re-upping exam. And by exam, and it's free. So once you're a trainer, as long as you stay in the program, it's forever. You don't have to retake the trainer exam. Like I said, I just did it because I had to renew my level 1 and level 2, which technically you don't have to either. But I just did it because, again, I'm running some boot camps and I want to know what people are seeing. So I took the exams again. And Richard says, already done GCE level 1 and 2, wanted to proceed with GCT. Do it. Just go for it. If you've done the learning, which doesn't take terribly long, go for the exam. And I mean, I'm not going to tell you to cheat, but I could tell you how to cheat is there are sites that have the answers to the trainer exam and also the coach exam. I think that's awful that it exists, but they're out there. So that is something that exists. I think it's probably been 35-ish minutes, so we can go back to the other room. Let me post that link here in the chat.
Can I ask you one more question? Because I noticed that with the trainer, you have to apply. So you have to take the test before you apply, or you just take the test and then apply for the trainer?
I take the test, pass, then apply, because they want you to upload the certificate.
Okay, thank you.
And there's the link to the other one. I'll see you there.
Rick looks as if he's coming back. Come back, Rick. Come back.
Perfect. Cheers, Fabric.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'm